Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another petty revenge Reddit video. In our first story, too busy to replace a drink? You're about to be a lot less busy. Let's jump right in. This happened a while ago, but I was reminded of it recently. My then fiancée and I were at the movies ordering drinks. She's a type 1 diabetic, so needs to have a sugar-free drink, and I don't like the taste of diet stuff, so I get full sugar drinks. We ordered drinks, and when the server put them down in front of us, asked which one was which. He shrugged, and then when I kept staring at him expectantly, he pointed at one and told me he thought mine was that one. I grabbed a couple straws and took a sip of each, and they tasted exactly the same. I asked if he even gave us a sugar-free one, and he didn't answer. I passed one of the drinks back and asked that he replace it with the sugar-free. He refused immediately and said once it was poured, he couldn't swap it. I explained the diabetes issue and told him I knew for a fact he could change the drink if the customer wasn't happy. He argued this wasn't the case and he'd be sacked if he swapped it, which I was flabbergasted by. Firstly, because he was lying, and secondly, because I just explained this was a medical issue, and then half shouted that it was really busy and he didn't have time to change it. We'd already held up the queue enough. I stared at him silently for a moment, then asked, "You're new here, aren't you?" Silence from him. I then said, "I'm OP. I'm one of the supervisors here," while handing him my employee discount card. "I'm off work this week, so we haven't met yet. Replace the drink so we can go and see our film, and we'll discuss this another time." The dude was as white as a sheet, but he got us the new drink. A few days later, he's in a disciplinary meeting for failing to follow policies and giving poor customer service. Usually that would have resulted in a warning, but for trying to force a customer to take a drink that could theoretically put her in a coma, it upped it to him getting fired. Not only that, but the reason he got a job there in the first place was that his girlfriend works there and put in a good word for him. She was pissed that she now looked bad for recommending him. His behavior, both the incident itself and the way he apparently whined about it for weeks afterwards and tried to find a way to sue the cinema instead of just looking for a new job, led to her dumping his ass. So the guy went from being too busy to pour a drink to having no job and no relationship. I am guessing that he had a lot more free time on his hands after that. Story number 2, party with blasting music right outside my bedroom into the AM. Enjoy the shower. I live on the top floor of an apartment building. Last night I had a couple friends over to watch some scary movies and hang out. As the night continues, we hear music get louder and louder outside of my apartment. The next door neighbors were having a Halloween party on their roof, and there were at least 50 or 60 people there. As Top 40 pounded relentlessly outside, unable to be drowned out even by the highest volume on my TV, the cheering of the crowd seemed endless. 12 a.m. came and went, the party showed no signs of slowing or quieting down. I'm all for parties, but have them indoors past a certain hour. Don't keep the whole block up listening to Doja Cat with you. That's when I remembered the water guns. I had gotten them on Amazon during a particularly brutally hot week of the summer, but they had laid unused in my closet for the past few months. The forecast did say scattered showers, and nothing got an outside party to wind down better than inclement weather. Embodying the trick half of the trick-or-treat spirit, my 3 friends and I each grabbed a gun, filled it up with water, donned our coats, and ran up to the roof, squirting the guns off from 2 angles over the unsuspecting guests below. Cheers of fun turned into screams of terror as cold water splashed from above. As I pumped blast after blast of water off the edge of my roof, it felt like I was blasting every noisy neighbor I'd ever had that had kept me up all night with music, an all too common occurrence in New York City. We went back inside, cheeks flushed from our victory. We peeked out the window to see a few raincoats and an umbrella, But after 15 minutes or so, the party had fizzled out, and the music was blessedly turned off. As I was using the bathroom a little bit later, which has a window facing their roof, I heard a loud debate echoing about whether it had been rain or someone with water guns in the neighboring roof. One person swore they'd seen figures and heard them laughing. The other two said it was rain, just like the forecast said. I guess they'll never know. Story number 3. My boss didn't believe I was sick. Years ago, I worked in electrical retail sales. I specialized in kitchen items, ovens, dishwashers, etc. I called in sick one week as I was firing out both ends. No, this was my first time calling in sick, plus I always worked days off when I was called in. I was young at the time and the commission was good. I had just finished working 3 months straight and had a few days off sick. I went to the doctor the first day and was given a sick note for 7 days. I returned to work 5 days after becoming sick, 2 days less than the sick note allowed, and was immediately called into my boss's office. I sat down and saw a colleague was present as a witness. As soon as I sat down, I was immediately yelled at and accused of faking a sickness. I found out later that a rumor was started that I was job hunting. After about 30 minutes of being yelled at and called a liar, etc., he finally stopped and asked if I had anything to say for myself. I was pretty shaken and upset by this point, so I pulled out my doctor's note and slammed it on his desk, and specifically pointed out that I had 2 days left for sick leave. I told him I quit and that I will be reporting this meeting to HR, and then I walked out. I spent the next 2 days relaxing at home, ignoring his 10+ calls. I did return to work after the 2 days and again was immediately called into the boss's office, again with the same witness. This time he was extremely apologetic, asking me to not escalate the incident. I flat out told him, "F you, you arrogant blank. If you ever question me again, I will let HR know about our meeting." The funny thing is that he ended up being the best boss I ever worked for, and I learned so much from him. Story number 4. My mom drove super slow for the people behind us. My mom and I were driving to my aunt's house, and there was a red light. The light had just turned green when the car behind us blasted the horn repeatedly. My mom didn't even get the chance to lift her foot off of the brake pedal. Both of us were annoyed at the aggressive honker, but then I saw my mom with a smile on her face. I knew exactly what she was going to do. She pressed her foot lightly on the accelerator and started turning slowly, ever so slowly down the street. She then continued to drive that slow the entire mile or two stretch down the road until we finally had to turn again. She was going at least 10 to 15 miles per hour under the limit. Finally, she made the second and final slow turn down the street towards my aunt's house. As soon as the car behind us was able to get by us, I watched from the side view mirror as the car basically kept going the same speed. Maybe a bit quicker down the road. I guess he wasn't in that much of a rush after all. I read the comments and I guess I should clarify some things. Besides us and the driver, there weren't any other drivers around at the time. My mom wouldn't have done this if there were other drivers around. As for the people who are saying that my mom was driving too slow and endangering everybody, people literally go double the speed limit down the road all the time. I'm not using it as an excuse for what happened here, just wanted to point this out. And as for the people saying maybe the person in the vehicle behind you had an emergency, maybe they might have, but that still doesn't excuse them excessively honking 1 millisecond after the light turned green. This is John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, this is the time to subscribe. I'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.